Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode number 31 of Every Day is a Story All Its Own. I am your host, creative and storyteller. And from a podcast I did the other night, I forgot to change it, Mothman researcher Joey Medea. My new novel had a soft launch today. It doesn't actually... It's the 10th book in the Stanton Chronicles series, which Amazon is now publishing or offering as a bundle, which is very exciting. I feel like I reached a new level as an author in that world, and they control so much of the market. That was kind of exciting. But anyway, that book had a soft opening today, so it's up there. But I was talking about Mothman and all that good kind of stuff. But we are here to talk about acting tonight and talk about acting within the boundaries within the circle. Really exciting. Billy and I are second cousins. So his father, Sam, was brothers with my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, Charlie, otherwise known as Cap. And this is one of his caps, decades old. This is also his horn in hand. And in their honor and where their parents came from, Calogero, which I think is just a beautiful name, and Concetta, equally beautiful. I'm wearing my Sicilian flag t-shirt, which always gets looks in airports and other places. It's probably the strangest flag on the planet, but there's a reason why that it has the Medusa and the wheat and the three legs, which correspond to the three sort of nubs or angles of Sicily. But anyway, that's a story of why I look the way I look tonight. Billy is a professional actor. He has a really great resume. I'm going to show you his reel tonight. I've had a lot of fun showing actors' reels to you, and you can really see a little bit of what they're about, which is terrific. So what I'm going to do, because we have a lot to cover and we want to not meander, but we want to take our time. We don't want to rush. Billy's had some great experiences. He got to watch Martin Scorsese work, which I just think, how many people can say that? Not too many if you think about it. So hi, Amy Jo. Hi, Karen. Karen is a fellow actor. Karen was on the show. She had some internet problems, but Karen is coming back in September. We're going to show the reel. We're going to show the trailer from the basketball documentary. Karen is the poster child for networking, for showing up. She's been so busy the last couple months. This is going to be great. I'm going to call it Act 2 or Take 2. She's going to come back. So anyway, opening, thanks everyone who has supported the show that Knight Berman Jr. was on, my longtime composer, dear friend, like a brother to me. Knight did the music for a short film that Billy and I are going to talk about tonight, because he was in one of my films, which was awesome. And we won an award, maybe because of Billy. Hello, Tanya. So this is exciting to have you all here tonight. So here is, of course, the 11-second cold open with music by Knight. I'm going to read Billy's bio and bring him on, and we're going to get going. And it's just as simple as that. So there you go. So here we go. New Jersey-based character actor William Giaimo has brought life to a diverse set of heroes and villains, including compassionate attorneys and heartless bikers, helpful detectives and abusive husbands, skilled analysts, and insane enablers. That is a character actor, folks. William has appeared in commercial and artistic roles in both mainstream and independent film, television, web, and stage productions. Projects have explored the supernatural, family relationships, aging and death, women's issues, and law enforcement. He has worked as a trained chef, business manager, technology developer, construction mason, assembly worker, and flower delivery person. And I will tell you guys, a good character actor doesn't just need to look and be able to morph. That kind of life experience, that's what makes a character actor, a real journeyman. That is awesome. He currently publishes the Chef Hacker Kitchen website and YouTube channel. Definitely check that out. Put a link in the comments, showcasing recipe and kitchen techniques and discussions. William brings this broad set of career experiences to each role he undertakes, and boy does he ever, as you will see from his reels. Ladies and gentlemen, my second cousin, a friend, and a colleague, William Giaimo. or Billy. Is it okay if I call you Billy today?
Please, yeah, please, Joey.
Okay. Welcome to Every Day is a Story.
Well, listen, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I mean, I've been watching your podcast for, well, a number of years anyway, and never really thought I'd have a slot here, but I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's perfect. I love talking to actors because, yeah, I'm a writer, but acting is my passion. Acting is what I did since I was 8 years old, and have never, ever, ever stopped doing it. So, as I said to the audience, and I have a feeling some family are watching tonight, which will be great. My grandfather, Charlie, was a musician. Maybe he never got on stage and did an hour of stand-up or even 10 minutes, but he was a comedian. And I remember your dad, who of course we called Uncle Sam, and his pipe and his humor. If my brother Chris is in the audience, I kind of hope he is. Your dad used to make Chris nuts when he was a kid in the best way. I loved it because he would always call him Fritz. And he's the only one that he gave an alternate name to, and Lord only knows why. It was Chris, but he'd say, "Hey, Fritz, how you doing?" And Chris would go, "My name is Chris." "Oh, Fritz, yeah, good to see you, Fritz." So I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about your dad and my grandfather a little bit and your memories of them and how their sort of show business inclinations and talents transferred to you.
Oh, sure. Well, that's the thing that I think about when I think of my dad and your dad is holiday get-togethers, family get-togethers, birthdays, and so on. And there was always a keyboard involved. Some of us had pianos, and if we were at a place that didn't have a piano, my dad would bring his accordion. And this was before the accordion had the sort of reputation of not being the greatest instrument to listen to, plus the way my dad played it. And he'd bring what he called fake books, which would be these spiral bound books that are about 2 inches thick. And they had just about every song in them from, I don't know, from the 1910s, maybe even earlier, right to current. And so we'd always have music going. And that was my favorite part. Sure, I loved the food because I do love food. But what I really liked was when the music books came out and we started singing and playing. That was just the best. And you're absolutely right. The only one funnier than my dad was your granddad. They were characters, and they just wonderful people. I miss them all the time.
I hear that so much, and so Grandpa used to call Grandma Sergeant or headquarters. She would always do that. She'd say, Cap, stop doing what you're doing and go do this or do that." He'd say, "Sergeant, headquarters." That was his big thing. And from what I understand, I think my son has picked that up with his. He's getting married on the 30th. You know, Jeremy.
Sure.
You were in a film with him.
Yeah.
So so he's kind of picked up that tradition. And Jolie, who never got a chance to meet him from the time she was little, she always called him Papo Giaimo. So she just found out that wasn't his name. That was just something. But I'll give you a couple quick things of Grandpa that I remember. He used to love to sing songs, and he'd pretend to like play the ukulele while he was singing. So he would sing when he would upset Grandma, or not upset her, but frustrate her. He would frustrate her over certain things, the garbage and all. "If you were the only girl in the world, the only boy," he'd do that. "Oh, Cac, please," right? And then another one that he would do, he'd go, "Hey, Joey, Chris, don't tell your grandmother, but I have a girlfriend." "Grandpa, you don't have a girlfriend." "Yes, I do. It's Mary Lou. She lives in the zoo." And then he'd sing that. And then it tickled my heart. He saw all my plays in high school and then drove out to Philadelphia to see some of my plays in college before he passed. But he always referred to me as my grandson, the actor, in his Mel Brooks moments. Which,
Yes.
So
Yeah.
last thing before we move on and start talking about your career and your acting, here's okay, we're gonna cut that guy out. There's my grandfather. There's Cap Giaimo, and that lovely lady there signing autographs, and he just looks so tickled, doesn't he, Billy?
He sure does. Yeah.
So tickled. That is Miss Betty Davis, you guys, the Betty Davis. So this hangs proudly on my wall. I look at it every day. Grandpa got to hang out with Betty Davis, which was very cool. So, Billy, how much that inclination, the music. I know you're a guitar player, and you got to be in a video, I think, with Keith Urban, right?
Yes, actually, I did. It was one of the jobs I picked up along the way. And I guess one of the secrets about aspiring actors is that you don't make a whole lot of money.
Oh,
But if you do the commercial circuit, then that's a good way to hold you over between the jobs that are the better paying jobs, because the commercials play pretty well. So I got to take the Keith Urban guitar training course, which he's a very good trainer. I mean, he's a wonderful guitarist, but I didn't
yeah.
realize what a great trainer he was. And as part of that, we went ahead and filmed the commercial, and Keith showed up. And talk about a wonderful man, right? He spent about 2 hours with about 30 of us. And you could tell his handlers were kind of, come on, Keith, time to go. We gotta leave. And he said, yeah, okay. And then he turns to the whole crew and he says, would anyone like some selfies? And of course we all did. So for another 45 minutes, he actually put his arm around every actor that had taken his course. I mean, it's great, just great.
I love stories like that. So if you have other ones like that, because celebrities get such a bad rap. They really do. And I find not that I hobnob with celebrities. I shockingly have not met a true celebrity in my entire life. Well, it depends. I met Lou Duva, the famous boxing trainer. He was, that's very cool. And Hacksaw Jim Duggan. We did a commercial together when I came out of college, and I got such insight into that WWF wrestling, which okay. So he would be, I think, maybe your great uncle, my Pop Giaimo. So yeah, so Grandpa's father-in-law. He would watch the wrestling. We were kids. We'd be crawling around on the floor. He would watch the wrestling, and he would go, "That's a fake. That's a fake." There you go. We're talking about all the family today. But anyway, so how did all of this translate into you pursuing acting?
Well, I've loved the arts really forever. I told you about the family get-togethers. My mom would have a radio playing constantly when I was growing up, so we knew all the tunes from the '60s and so on. Loved to sing. Car rides were never quiet in my family. We were always singing. And then, but I didn't really get a chance to do anything until high school. And then in what was actually my junior year, but I graduated a year early. What was my junior year? I actually tried out for and got the lead in a show. So that was really my first. But then I was worried about, well, I'm going to have to earn a living here. I better kind of knuckle down. And I had been working in restaurants, so I went to chef school and then eventually the corporate way. So I didn't really get back into acting until I had retired from my corporate career in IBM, and that was about 12 years ago now. And it's funny because the way I did it, when I was still employed, I saw that they were making A Beautiful Mind in a local town in Princeton, New Jersey. And they were looking for background actors, what people call extras. So I figured, no problem, I got this, I can get some time off. So I applied and my wife went along with me. But unfortunately, they didn't like me. She got the job and I didn't.
How strange.
So I guess I just didn't have the right look, right? That's what you say when you're an actor and you don't get the gig, right? They went a different direction. So, and then when I full-time retired, that's when I really knuckled down and started signing up, taking the courses and things like that. And partially because of where I lived, I was able to go ahead and sort of work my way into the business.
Yeah. So I think rather than have you talk about your acting, let's show, don't tell. So this is a good time for everyone to enjoy your reel. It's about 2 minutes long, folks. Billy, there's no music in any of it, is there?
No, it's perfectly legitimate to play it without worrying about a strike.
Yeah, I got a copyright ding on that. It was just a copyright claim, so it wasn't actually a strike, which was good. Rick Beato is in copyright strike hell, the poor guy.
Yeah, I've
So
heard.
anyway, first thing I want to show you guys. So I'm going to hit share screen here, which is a really nice thing I can do now, as you've seen. Okay, so there you go. So here's Billy's website and his headshot, which is great. Some of his characters that I didn't show you on the banner. Well, one of them anyway. And then we're going to go to his media and we're going to go to his actors reel here. You can check this out on Billy's YouTube channel, but let's go ahead and take a look.
The correct answer is from 9 a.m. to 5 at night. I thought he was just pulling my leg. But then I had the IT guys in for a system upgrade last night.
Call me in the morning or afternoon when or if you're so broke.
I assure you, I won't be doing either of those.
I still love you, Alf.
I love you too, Bert.
You know,
So sorry.
I wouldn't worry about being a fool for showing you care. I'd worry about giving so much time and so much attention to somebody who doesn't deserve it.
I don't understand. Your reality. Ever stop to think that maybe you're just putting things the way you want them to be?
What are you saying? This is all fake? That I'm imagining it all?
You need to answer that yourself, son. You just need to wake up.
Wake up.
I'll keep this.
Billy, did I miss the beginning of it?
Yeah, I clipped it a little bit, but I think that's you'll get an idea from that.
Well, let's not. They changed the interface on me a little here, so let's replay that.
Consider her my daughter. Who's the pathetic one now? But even if you survived, you could return to that comatose state you were in for the last 2 years. Sure, we could take care of you just like we did before, but we would not be able to restore you to consciousness. Josh, you may never wake up again.
I think that this is a good idea.
Yeah, one of my best.
Whoa,
where you going? She's about to have a baby, but they have so many damn forms. So now I don't know.
That's an outrage. I'm a lawyer. If anything happens to this woman or her baby, we'll sue this hospital like they've never been sued before.
He laughs. He says, the correct answer is from 9 a.m. to 5 at night. I thought he was just pulling my leg. But then I had the IT guys in for a system upgrade last night.
Call me in the morning or afternoon when or if you're so broke.
I assure you, I won't be doing either of those.
I still love you, Alf.
I love you too, Bert.
You know,
So sorry.
I wouldn't worry about being a fool for showing you care. I'd worry about giving so much time and so much attention to somebody who doesn't deserve it.
I don't understand. Your reality. Ever stop to think that maybe you're just putting things the way you want them to be?
What are you saying? This is all fake? That I'm imagining it all?
You need to answer that yourself, son. You just need to wake up.
Wake up.
I'll keep this.
All right. So there we go. So we got to watch some of it twice, I think, which is a good thing. So let's talk about your favorite. Actors sometimes we have to take the job, right, for momentum or to not upset our agents, or if you're trying to build a relationship with a casting director. All of that aside, what kinds of characters are the ones that you go, oh yeah, this is for me, and I'm going to kill this, and I'm going to enjoy this so much?
I I guess the characters I like the most are the ones that are the least like me.
Yeah.
Which it kind of goes against what you learn in a lot of your acting classes, which is be yourself. They're looking for you. If you're right, you're right. If you're not, um, and I've done that. I've played some of those roles, but Joey, they can be kind of boring.
Yeah.
You're just kind of saying the words. Whereas I feel that if it's something that's very much unlike me, that I just have more fun with those.
Yeah.
I just read, and I'm going to do a second second Zoom on a job where I play somebody suffering from I hope to play somebody suffering from dementia.
Oh wow.
And I've had some experience with that, and it's a role that I really hope I'll get. And I want to step into that sort of a condition. I've seen my grandmother go through it, my godfather go through it, and my mom go through it. And I really want to explore that a little bit. So those are the roles I like anyway, the ones that are not like me.
That makes perfect sense. And for us character actors, we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to not just show up and be ourselves, because I not only do I hate that, but I do a lot of stage work which involves like repetitive, or I'll create a new character for my Chautauqua, which is the one-man show format, and people will want me to bring it back. I'm like, once I've done it and once I've shown I can do it, and also I make such a commitment, like shaving the middle of my mustache for Che Guevara was not fun, but it was great. And to learn the Spanish and to, okay, what is an Argentinian Cuban accent sound like, and how do I do that, and smoke the cigar on stage, right, and make the fire marshals nuts, or Allen Ginsberg with the beard and the hair, like that is a commitment. But I love doing the accents. I do so many characters with accents. You did a little bit of with the lawyer, with the pregnant lady. Have you had much chance doing accents, and do you like that?
Oh, I absolutely love it. And I don't know if there's it almost makes it easier to get into the character when I'm doing a voice that's not my own voice. So I get a lot of the, in fact, I did a short bit on a web series where I play a jewelry salesman, or more likely, I would say I'm a jewelry salesman. And so I really put on the accent, and then the fellow actor who was working with me after the scene was shot, he goes to me, "Hey, you amped up your accent a little bit, didn't you?" And I thought I was going way over the top with it, but I guess I don't realize I have sort of a New Jersey, New York accent. But I love doing it. I mean, and I've always been impressed at the way you get into a character. I don't know if you were. I think you were hoping to talk about. We're going to make your film, our film. I mean, I got to see you. What did we spend? About 5 or 6 days together.
Yeah.
And you were the writer, you directed, you had a lot of roles, and you were casting a part. And I could actually see you becoming that character. It was incredible. You're really good at it. And I dare say that was, how long ago was that, Joey? I don't quite remember.
Oh, geez. So, oh my gosh. I want to say that it was, we did, okay, that is like 8 or 9 years ago now.
Yeah, 8 or 9. So if you think back, 8 or 9 years ago, I had done only a few principal roles. I had done a lot of background work, but only a few principal roles. So in seeing the storyboards that you created, the work you did, the character transformation that you did. I feel like that was an educational experience for me. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of actor training, but I consider that one bit of how I learned to sort of embody the character. I don't even know how to do it, but after seeing you, I'm kind of like a dog. You know, if you put a dog door in, and your dog will look at it and you won't know what to do, right? But if another dog comes in and goes through the dog door, your dog will follow that right out. So that's kind of my actor training, I guess, kind of like a dog. I just watched you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And folks, it's called We're Gonna Make Your Film. You can find it out on YouTube. It's Vastbinder Entertainment, Vasbinder. It's on their website. They were the producers. Eric and Amy were both in it as well. Tanya's in it. My son Jeremy's in it. Billy's in it. It was very much a family affair. And we, my daughter was supposed to be script girl, but she decided she didn't care for that. So we were our own script people. But it was a very good shoot. I was very, very prepared. It was a 36-minute film. I really do I've done a lot of stage acting. I have 2 big shows that I'm slated to direct, but I would like to get into film directing before I get too old. So this was one of my proof of concepts. It did win an award at the Cleveland Film Festival, which was very nice. Little did I know I'd be living close to there a couple years later, but that was a lot of fun to do it all with the family, and it was a comedy, and you did a great job. So I am really from as much as I've made a career for 30 years as an actor, who's also a teacher, a mentor, a director who's very much an actor's director. I'm still from the Mamet school where like work the words. Like you don't need the method thing of, oh, my dog died when I was 5. I'm reading Andrew McCarthy's autobiography now. I love to read actors' autobiographies. I learned so much. And he's talking about method and all this nonsense. So what is the way that you work? So you how do you prep for an audition? And then when you get the part, how do you work with the script to actually do the work?
Well, I guess I probably do what a lot of actors do. I try to read over as much material as I can to try and get an idea of where that character sits. And I mean, because I know from personal experience that I have gone into, and they're almost always video auditions or Zoom auditions or some kind of a online connection. But I know for a fact that I have completely missed where the character should have been at the time. So I try to read as much as I can. I'm not great at learning lines. It takes me a lot of effort. I mean, hours to learn short passages. But of course, I try to get the lines down cold. And then I try and think of people that I know who may be like the character that I'm playing or hoping to play. And then I just kind of mimic what I think those people would be like. That's and believe it or not, that has actually worked for me. I mean, I'm not. It's still about I would imagine I get 5 out of 20 auditions that I actually. So so anyway,
20% is pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's after the screening and all that other nonsense. So yeah.
Yeah, I believe it very much. That's trending. I really wanted to ask you. I'm going to ask all the actors who are going to be on the show in the future. I'll certainly ask Karen. It's trending very much. Anytime I see an actor talking about their work, actors that I admire, and I admire most actors, I will click on that and watch 35 seconds or a minute. And they're all talking about the great actors of the past, actors from right now, actors like Anthony Hopkins, Stanley Tucci, Matthew McConaughey. They read the script 200 times. So I don't sit down and learn my lines. I read the script so much that the lines organically come to me within. So I think that's a great, where your character situates in the story is so important as a writer. I'm going to do an episode in, I think, October about linking character to theme, which is Harold Klerman's work, really the wagon wheel of every single character should be an expression of the theme. Otherwise, they don't belong in the piece. So that's exactly what you're talking about, which is very astute. Where do I sit in it? And truly, the fact is, not everything that comes across, because the casting agents are looking at a picture and go, "Oh, he looks the part," but there's so much more to it than that. That yeah, sometimes we just miss the mark. It's not for us, and I think what's worse, and again, reading the Andrew McCarthy book, he's so I think because he gave up acting and became a director like 20 years ago. So he thinks like a director. Oh, she was miscast. Oh, he never should have been in that piece. Oh, I never should have said, because no matter how good an actor you are, the gap is the gap. And if it's too wide, you're not going to fill it. I know I'm super careful. I'd rather not work than work in something that's not suited to me. So let's talk about some of your favorite. You did Blue Bloods with Tom Selleck. You've done a lot of other things. What are some of your most memorable experience other than working with me, and as much as you learned with me, which was very gracious, that I appreciate it, especially with family watching. Who are the people who really, it was really a clinic? Actors, directors?
Well, if I'm going to go with name actors, then my experience is probably going to relate to my background work. And I guess you mentioned, I think in the opening, that I worked on a project that was directed by Martin Scorsese. Yeah. Actually, that was Wolf of Wall Street was the first one I worked with, and the second one was The Irishman. Wow. And the great thing about working with Scorsese was just the vast scope of things. I mean, it was a huge production. If you've seen The Wolf of Wall Street and you've seen the wedding scene, then you realize there were. I mean, that wasn't CGI or AI or anything. That was 400 people in a wedding from about 11 o'clock in the morning until about 2 a.m. the following morning. And he's very organized. His team are like, it's almost military in terms of how they get people going. But my finest memory is that somewhere around midnight, he came out from behind the curtain and walked by and pointed at me and said, "Nice job." Now, I was with 7 other people, so he may have been talking to them, but I'm going to take it as my own. So what surprised me was, I mean, I was probably 50, almost 60 years old at the time, and I was exhausted. He was a lot older, and he was going strong. It was just, that's got to be passion, right? That keeps you going that way.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys. He's one of those guys, along with Quentin Tarantino and Steven Spielberg, when Kodak said, "Listen, everybody's gone digital, and we're going to stop making film. We're just going to stop making film, for your cameras, for the cinema." They put together a fund of millions of dollars and said to Kodak, "You just keep making the film, and we'll pay for it. We'll make it worth your while." And that kind of is amazing. I have a great biography of him. It's actually written by a Catholic nun about how a background not dissimilar from yours and not mine, growing up Catholic in that New York, New Jersey area, really, really informed his approach to films. I mean, he took on the Last Temptation of Christ very much at his peril.
Yeah.
And that passion I love. I hope, and he's only going to do one more film, so the chances are not great. Tarantino must be a blast to be around. Don't fall asleep on his set, because they have a certain toy that they will place in your lap if you fall asleep. And he also doesn't like cell phones. But I love people who love what they do. And Scorsese so clearly loves what he does. I love directors who work with the same people over and over again. they have that shorthand. Yeah, that is wow. 12, 13, 14 hours.
Yeah.
So you figure 400 people, even at background pay, which isn't insubstantial, that's also a commitment to go, this is important to me. The scope, the scale, the depth. I want real people. Amazing.
Yeah.
Who else have you watched work and you're like, that's passion, that's knowledge, that's craft?
Well, let's see. And one that probably a lot of people can relate to. Donnie Wahlberg from Blue Bloods. I mean, and again, it was a background job. I was working. I'm a trained chef, so I took a role as a background chef, and I'm basically cutting vegetables. He comes running into the kitchen, and we're all supposed to run out. And I was directed to run directly past him. And you know, I'm a good background actor. I do exactly what they tell me, and so I did that. After the first take, we're getting ready to do the second, and he pulls me over, and I'm background, right? This is how important is this character, right? He says to me, he goes, I got a gun. You might want to do this, right? That's what he says to me. So I said, okay, fine. You're the man. So I go ahead and do that. Well, actually, when I did this, there was some flour on the floor, and I slid down. My hand fell down on a basket. Sugar wrappers went flying all over the place. Director comes running over to me and says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Listen, that was great. Do not do that again." So I imagine he thought I was going to. But so then one other time where a director, Aaron Sorkin, a series called The Nick on HBO, which was a lot of fun to do. Everything was costume. It was a period piece. And we had a lot of background in that as well. But before every scene, the director comes out and describes except I got the project wrong.
Okay.
It was the Chicago 7 that he did this on. That
yeah,
Aaron
yeah,
did this
yeah.
on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before every scene, he'd come out and talk to 200 people for at least 15 minutes to really set up. And I'll tell you what, I mean, there's a cost associated with that. But when we got out there, we didn't do a whole lot of takes. Everything seems to go wonderfully. So, and again, it's background work, but it impresses me that there's that much attention to detail for some of these people. These are artists, right? These are real artists.
Yeah.
I'll reflect. Passionate about that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll reflect on a couple of things. So you're in the courtroom scene because I saw you. Yeah, I love Chicago. So Aaron Sorkin is another one. Just the fact that you've gotten to constellate around these people and get paid for it is amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Just to see how they work and all that. Actors do not give other actors notes. Shame on you, Donnie Wahlberg, if you happen to be watching this.
Oh, he was the director. He was the director for this particular episode. Yeah, I should have said that.
Oh,
yeah.
So Donnie came back over and said that was great. Don't do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, because obviously it pulls focus. I cannot. Tanya will attest to this, Billy. Background is one of those things where there's a couple things of value that you learn as an actor that aren't in the books. One is the back of a head is very boring. So don't show the back of your head, right? It's not interesting. Someone could be acting their butt off. I mean, acting their butt off. And somebody does something that is untoward or out of the spirit of the story that's being told. And that's where the eye is going to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So on stage, we have follow spots. I mean, we have, spotlights for really important scenes. It drives me crazy how many really, I don't curse on this show usually, but how many shitty background people there are out there who pull focus, try to do a little something. They're doing their little peas and carrots, and somehow it becomes like a subplot. And I notice that stuff. So, and directors will notice that because when I bet when you're sitting in the editing room in post, and you got the shot that you wanted, and your actors are working their ass off, and there's some bozo background person that the assistant director or a production assistant didn't catch, then you're screwed. Then you just got to go with it, and that bozo's pulling focus. So I appreciate the fact that you're whether you're doing the lead in a piece. You have a piece that's on Netflix, right? You have a pretty substantial role in. Am I correct?
I have I think it was an ID Network job.
Yeah.
Back when ID Network used to do scripted. Now a lot of them, they do no sound ups now. But yeah, when I first got into it, that was kind of cool. I told you about accents, how they draw me in, and I got to do a Southern accent on that. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's been a few, things where I've been principal actors, but most of my principal actor work is in short films, indie films and things like that, which, I mean, talk about passion, right? There's nothing more passionate than a bunch of 22-year-olds making the film that they were born to make. Really, really good. Really good stuff. But I mean, I might have drawn you off topic there, but
no, not at all. This is very much the topic. We're about to, you've alluded to the fact of your chef training. I worked 7 summers in an Italian restaurant, so that's something else we have in common, which we'll talk about the bear because it ties into what you're doing. I love watching your shorts when you talk about the bear. And Jeremy had been telling me forever, you got to watch the bear, Dad. You got to watch the bear. And Jeremy Allen White, there's just something about that guy that I love. I can't wait to see. I don't typically watch biopics, especially about musicians. I skipped the one with Timothy Chalamet. I will never watch the Queen one. I do like Rocket Man about Elton John, and Great Balls of Fire with Dennis Quaid's pretty stout. But typically I don't. But I can't wait to see him as Springsteen because he looks like a man, which is cool. So, and the second lead, it's his cousin, right? And I forget the actor's name. He's in the Fantastic Four now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recall his name.
Yeah. But excellent actor too.
Yeah.
So you do these little, so Tanya and I finally sit down and I go, okay, babe, it's time to watch The Bear. We got to do it. I got a hunger for something good. That first episode was so intense, and the jump cuts.
Oh, it's
she
great.
Just couldn't handle it. She couldn't handle it.
Is that really?
Yeah, she couldn't handle it. So we had to stop. I mean, we watched it, and she said, "Hun, this is not for me. You have to watch this on your own." So I'm committed this fall. While she's away doing her good work, and we're spending a lot of time apart. This fall, I'm going to get into The Bear because the new season's coming out.
Yeah. I mean it sounds funny, but that intensity is part of the charm, and it's what makes me say, yeah, that's exactly what it was like. I mean, I've been out of restaurants for about 30 years, but I mean, I felt like I was right back in the kitchen there.
Yeah.
So really something.
When you got a line around the building and it's 110 degrees in the kitchen and the chef's barking orders and you're either at the fry or you're at the stove and you just drip and sweat. And some of the funniest guys I ever met, Billy, were chefs in the kitchen because it was a way to break tension.
Yeah, absolutely.
You do crazy stuff and make stupid bets like, here, eat this chili pepper and then drink a quart of heavy cream, right? And we'll give you $20. So I got to get back to The Bear, but so you do these great reels, so folks definitely check that out if you are fans of The Bear. But now, drum roll, please tell us about Chef Hacker Kitchen.
Oh, Chef Hacker Kitchen. Okay. Well, this is funny. This is something I've been thinking about. I had been thinking about for probably 8 or 9 years. When I worked in corporate, I guess it always came up that I probably told them that I'm a trained chef. So I would talk to people all the time about foods, dishes, especially ethnic foods and the different peculiarities. And I realized that in some way, cooking is really hacking. Okay, you develop some skills. You may be frying, braising, broiling, whatever it happens to be. You develop these skills, and then you have these ingredients, and you sometimes can pull different things together and make them your own. So it's an artistic endeavor, and I kind of miss that now that I'm retired. Although there is a lot of downtime when you're acting as well. I don't act as often as I used to work in corporate. So I kind of miss that. So that's why I started this website called Chef Hacker Kitchen. And what it is it's an idea that you'll take a recipe that may be a common recipe or maybe not, but most often it's common, and then you do something a little different to it. There's something called the pizza principle. And the pizza principle, or my version of the pizza principle, is you live in a town, you order pizza, it's always the best pizza. You keep going back to that place, right? But then you move. And your first day of moving, your friends are helping you, so you're going to order a pizza for everybody. And you're not a rube, so you call the neighbor and say, "Where's the best pizza?" And they tell you, you order it, it's good, but it's not as good as the pizza you had, right? Just not. A couple of months later, you go back to your old town, you want to get some of that good pizza. You go back there, and it's okay, but it's not as good as you remember it. That didn't change. You got used to that pizza. What you eat the most of, as long as the level is at a certain level, is going to be the one that you like. So that's what happens. And that's how Chef Hacker is. Let's add in ingredients. People will say to me, my husband does not like chicken. Okay, so make a dish and add in a little bit of chicken. And then over time, you're going to get your husband to like that. And that's kind of what Chef Hacker is. I'll tell you, though, the thing that surprised me a little bit, I really thought that the long kind of recipes with a lot of details would be very popular, and they are. I get about 100 views on every new video that I post. But I started doing these little reels, these little shorts, and they get 700, 800, 1,000 views. So people are using the site not to learn how to do things, but as entertainment, which is kind of cool, but not what I exactly had in mind. So anyway, but if you like things, I've done a series of Italian peasant food, things like string beans and potato, escarole and bean, things that are low cost, hearty, and delicious. And I do get quite a few comments on those entries. The things that are maybe unique to New Jersey, or so that's really what Chef Hacker is. I love doing it, and I still do it the old-fashioned way. I kind of cobble it together. I don't use AI; it's all manual, and it takes hours, but it's a passion. The other thing is, I invite people to the house. I make them dinner, and they say to me, "Well, can I have the recipe for this? It's really good." Well, I'm a hacker. I don't have recipes.
Right.
So this is a way now for them. I can send them to the website. The recipe's there. By the way, if you really feel ambitious, change it a little bit and let me know how it turns out. Yeah. And that's really what Chef Hacker is.
There you go. I love it. Now you can brag a little. One of your videos, I think you said, kind of went viral and has about 120,000 views. I think you told me. Yeah, there's about 120,000 views on a method for cooking prime rib, and I'm kind of proud of it because it's a real hack. It takes different bits from other methods, and it's called the warm, sear, roast, and rest method. Whereas you bring it to room temperature, very high temperature, low temperature, long cook, and then you just set it on the counter. And if you like medium rare prime rib, this is just the best way to do it. So look into Chef Hacker Kitchen, and you'll get a great. Now it's funny. The other thing is that anyway, enough said about that. Go look at it if you like prime rib. There you go. Not much of a and that I didn't put. So let's put it in the chat room here. What is the They can just look up Chef Hacker Kitchen and it'll come up.
Yeah, right. Chef Hacker Kitchen will do it. All one word.
Yeah, the joys of of internet search. So Well, you were talking about pulling from this, that, the other. So when grandma was still alive, we had all these recipes, and trying to replicate grandma's recipes was very, very hard. Now, Grandma Medea, you could do it somehow. You could get there. Grandma Giaimo, I would be in the middle of making this dinner, right? Trying to impress Tanya and the kids or other people. I've lived all over the country. So, okay, let me cook, Sicilian from Jersey for you. I'll pull out one of grandma's recipes. And I would call her and I would go, Grandma, the dough is just not flaky. Like, Joey, I don't know what you're doing wrong. I'm like, I'm following Grandma. She's like, but it's a little pinch of this and it's a little dash of this and do it. And so there's a word and a little funny story here. I think Tanya is still with us. Mishkolanza. You know this word?
I don't know that word.
So somehow I think it was in the Giaimo family somehow. So maybe it came from grandma, but I learned this word Mishkolanza. And I've used it. Tanya and I have been together for almost 28 years. And I say, you know what, babe? Nobody eats the leftovers, whatever. Tonight I'm making a mishkolanza, which is a little like a pasta puttanesca, in that flavor. Just grab all kinds of stuff. Now, all the kids live away and I have my cast iron skillet, which is my go-to. And I just do 2-3 times a week. I do a mishkolanza and I send them the pictures. So Tanya was hanging out with her friend who's Italian from Boston, Betty, the other night. And she goes, Mishkolanza is a real word. And I said, yeah, babe, it's a real word. And she says, Betty uses it. I said, yeah. She goes, 27 years? I thought you made it up. But it's exactly what you're talking about. I could never duplicate a lot of grandma's stuff. I could come close.
Yeah.
And I think I love her. She's the best. She's the best for that because it was her, her fingers always had a little sheen of olive oil and she had no fingerprints. She could pick things. I mean, that was wonderful. Have you on Chef Hacker Kitchen, have you made a pepper egg sandwich on like a soft Kaiser roll?
No, I haven't made one of those.
You talked about
I've eaten them forever, but I haven't done a so maybe we should do the next get together. We'll have to figure out when we're in the same part of the country at the same time, and I'll let you come to Chef Hacker's Kitchen and do it.
Oh, that would be good. It's like a scrambled egg with like green peppers in it with a little salt, little pepper. Because you were talking about what made me think of it was you were talking about ordering a pizza when you move. The whole time when I was a kid, when we moved, right? I lived in West Virginia for a lot of years, and it was pizza roll. It was a pepperoni roll. That's what you said. Well, Grandma would make these pepper and egg sandwiches wrapped in aluminum foil, and you had to be a safe cracker, right? You had to be one of Ocean's 11 to get in, because Grandma would do the aluminum foil, then she would do the saran wrap, then she would put it in a bag. Tanya does that, bless her heart, makes me miss Grandma. But it was like, when the hell is lunch so that I can have one of these? And of course they were cold. And it was so good. Little pepper, little salt, some fresh green bell pepper, mix up those eggs. So anyway, thank you for indulging me. But
wonderful. You probably, if you make them, make sure you wrap them up.
Yeah.
Because you really need to do that to get those flavors to meld together.
There you go. There's the tip. There you go, folks. So you're learning a whole bunch of stuff tonight. But Billy had a request, and we're going to talk a little. And we're going to talk about, we've both Billy's worked for very, very big names. I am this close now, as you all know, from taking the journey. There's a lot of industry people who are reading my stuff, and I want to get an agent in Pittsburgh and get back into the acting very serious. But Billy, you wanted to talk a little bit about independent content creation for a creator and doing that, at scale. And that's what you're doing with Chef Hacker Kitchen. It puts you in front of people. It puts you in front of the camera. I honestly, I don't blow smoke. Everybody knows this, because it does a total disservice. I really enjoy the Chef Hacker stuff, because you're very conversational. And when you're talking about the bear, man, you're so animated and excited as a fan, which is wonderful. So what exactly did you want to talk about on that subject?
Well, actually, that was something that I hoped you would do more of the talking. I mean, I know this is your show interviewing me, but I've always been impressed by the way you could go across sort of disciplines, keeping everything on the creative. But I honestly, you must be like one of these people that never sleeps or something. How do you live by a really strict calendar? How do you get all these different things done? I mean, I'd love to be able to do that.
Yeah. So with your background in technology, you'll appreciate this. I actually get 7 hours of sleep almost every night. But that's what everybody says. Like, when do you sleep? And I actually have a regimen. I like to get up early in the morning, but I'll show folks. I don't always do. I've often been made fun of, but this is my calendar, and it's color coded, and every day has boxes. And Billy, some things I break into 15-minute increments. I always have multiple projects going at once, and they're all in different stages. So this new novel, I had to, in order to meet a deadline for a big event in September where it's going to officially debut, it's not something I would normally agree to. So working on that novel 3 to 4 hours a day was exhausting. That is not how I like to work. It's too much concentrating on one thing. But if I'm in the research stage of one project, I'm in the outlining stage of another, I'm in the writing stage of one, I'm in what you would call post-production in another, then I can keep 5 or 6 balls in the air. What I fought against early in my career was jack of all trades, master of none. And that has really proven to be false, especially in what we do. I mean, think of all the triple threats. Clint Eastwood, Sylvester Stallone. I mean, there are guys who did it all. They wrote, they direct, they acted. And my book, Every Day is a Story All Its Own. Everything that I do, what I realized was, as an actor, the more I studied writing and directing, the better actor I became. I became a really good director, and I believe I'm a good director. And I got some really nice compliments from you when we were on the film set that I've carried with me for a decade, because you had already been doing some very impressive stuff with some big names. Is because I understand the writer, and I want to honor their work. In that case, it was my work. Okay, so throw that out. But the other actors, I love actors. I'm definitely an actor's director. And I've gotten to teach some master classes at some really cool film schools, teaching directors how to work with actors, because so many don't. Yeah. All they learn is the camera. Yeah. They don't learn that there's people there. So that's really how I do it. Also, it's my passion. I breathe story. It's my purpose. It's my reason. And I was on a podcast, is actually about paranormal subjects and things like that, but there was some space. And I think I was on this podcast for the 17th time with these people, which has been wonderful. Again, that rapport of working with people over and over. And they said, Joey, you do all these things. You're an actor, you design escape rooms. You're a novelist. You're screenwriter. What do you do? Like, what? How do you bleed this down? Right. And I said, one word: I'm a storyteller. And you've done enough of this work that Chef Hacker Kitchen, that chef is telling a story. Yeah. The story is, and if you look at a cooking show, and Gordon Ramsay elevated this to a high art, which I talk, it's a 3-act play, right? Here are the ingredients. Yeah. Now we have all these obstacles because now we have to put them together and we have to cook them. And then the 3rd act is sort of the prestige, right? People have to actually eat this thing, right? And it's got to taste good. It's got to look good. It's got to taste good. As you know, from working in a restaurant, people eat with their eyes. So to me, it's all of a piece. And yes, I work. I don't have hobbies. I've given up all my hobbies. I don't watch sports. I don't play golf. I do puzzles, and I like to put together scale models. I'm working on a 1960 Ford pickup truck now. But my work is my passion, and even though I work 10 to 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I really do, it doesn't feel like it.
Right.
It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
I feel privileged. I feel privileged that people give a crap, and I think that's what it is. And now in this day of growing AI, just being a human creator is like the biggest act of creative rebellion that's going on out there. I had to put it in the new novel. I had to put none of this was created using AI, which is gonna, I think you're butting up against AI a little as a working actor, as a working
Sure.
auditioning actor. You want to finish with that? Because
Yeah,
I think
sure.
it's important.
Yeah, sure. I mentioned earlier that I do some of the commercial type of work. And I recently was invited to audition for a banking commercial. And I was ready to go for it. But then they sent me a set of, I guess it was like a waiver. It must have been a
Mhm.
waiver.
That's what they
that
are. They're
said-
waivers.
Yeah, that said that in perpetuity, we're going to own this image and we can use it. And then it listed a bunch of different ways they could use it, including modifying the appearance, the sound, and the context. So basically, I was giving them a picture and telling them they could make me do whatever they want me to do forever. And I mean, I'm not a named actor, so it doesn't, it's not like it. But that's not something I'm willing to give up. And so when I declined the audition, I got a message back from the casting associate that said, "Oh, this is, don't worry about it. It's not really a problem. They're not going to do anything with it." And of course, I'm just not going to do that.
No.
I know that there's people more involved than I am in this stuff are working through these little issues, but it sounds like they may be a little behind the curve to me. And based on some of the things that you've been going through, I mean, sounds like you're seeing it as well.
Yeah, and Karen, who's also a working actor, why is it okay? Why is that not showing? There you go.
Ah.
You have to read the contracts. Glad you declined. And what I'm hearing is really in the pure CGI digital environment, which of course is becoming more and more AI. So the comic book movies, which are a huge percentage of, actors have to make a decision. Okay, this is my big break. I'm going to be in the next Marvel movie, but I have to sign away. And they're making these databases of us. I mean, it's a cracker. The on Facebook where people would do the things where they could put themselves in a classic music video from the 80s, or do voice capture kind of work, like, oh, audition for this animation thing. In the fine print, it says that they own it.
Yeah,
they own it, and they're creating these databases. So what you alluded to, I can't, we at a certain level, you can't talk about anything. It's very frustrating. I was supposed to get my SAG card a number of years ago, being in a Western. And all that I said on social media was, guys, I'm really excited. I'm going to be SAG eligible. I just got cast in a Western. And I get a nasty note from like the casting people. And they're like, you can't talk about this publicly. I'm like, what? There's one Western in the entire world being produced right now, and they're all going to figure out that it's your Western? Like, are you kidding me? Like, how far is this going to go? I noticed my jersey's up a little. I've been talking with you and reminiscing. But it's this weird thing, and I'm glad Karen's here. It's this weird thing where the other night, and this is just my life. Things get quiet, but there's a lot of oars in the water. And suddenly I get an email from an associate and says, hey, there's this producer, you gotta send our script to them right away. So, okay, great. I look up the producer and I'm like, whoa, these are like substantial credits. This is like a serious person. Oh, by the way, they're getting into a lot of AI now. So as somebody who's been working for 35 years in this business at different levels, and now at 56 years old to be on the threshold and talking with people, and people in the industry are reading my work, and they legitimately are some very, very impressive people, then you got this wrench that gets thrown in the machine. And rather than being excited, suddenly you're confronted with this huge dilemma. So I spoke to members of the family, and depending on who you talk to and what their background and sensibilities are, so the answer comes, and it's more confusing then. And, it happens to be a project where I don't have a lot to say. I was a hired gun who was lucky enough to have their name attached because my work was good and it was substantial. But yeah, so like what we do, like you're excited for an audition, as I'm sure you were.
Mm-hmm.
And then suddenly, right? And Karen, type a message if you're still there, if you want to, before we say goodnight for the night. It's just making our lives more complicated. And the last SAG strike, they really didn't come to a lot of decisions. They kind of abandoned it. Yeah. But the next series of SAG is really going to be tough about this digital stuff. So Karen says, and I'll put this up here for our ERT radio audience, and you'll have to go, instead of just listening to Billy's reel, you're going to have to go and watch it, which is great. That'll give him views. Get so frustrated. It's happening on my end as well with my basketball project. Yeah. See, so when Karen's on in September, she's going to talk about it. And when you start talking about to people at a certain level, they're getting all in on this AI because it's cost cutting.
Right. They might also be afraid that they're going to get left behind if they don't do it.
Well, that's what, Billy, as I'm talking to these producers, there's another producer of one of my works. They're in the fundraising stage. I'm also supposed to direct it, which is exciting because it's hybrid. So we'll have cinema aspects, which is great. And do you remember when Peter Thiel and Elon Musk, which on Monday they love each other, Tuesday they hate each other, they're like an old married couple, those two. We're talking about, I think the time for copyright is over. We got to do away with copyright. And I went to some people and I was like, what do you think about this? This is BS, right? And they're like, well, when you think about it in the world we're in now, and as a content creator to go, oh man, like what does that look like? And they made kind of a good point. You sell your work gets made, you make your money, and then you make something new. So if somebody wants to take something, and they've been training us, Billy, for a really long time, because what is the duets and the stitches on social media is taking someone else's IP. Of
course, right.
And doing something completely different with it.
Well, and I'll tell you, when I think about it, now I'm not an actor anymore, and I'm not a chef hacker content creator. Back to my business days, you're creating something of value, and the only thing a copyright does is it changes the way you can capture that value, right? And it's the difference between, for example, being a business owner versus working an hourly job, right? So as long as you could come up with a method that would pull the value into the creator, I mean, if you get it early, then you don't have to quite get as much. So, I mean, there may be a way to do it, but I don't think people have really thought through this all the way yet. I mean, I know I haven't. Let me put it that way. So
yeah. And really these guys, and I've talked about them so much in the different brands and the different iterations of the podcast. These guys are disruptors. They're innovators. That's what they're provocateurs.
Yeah, right.
So they throw that out there and see what sticks. I've noticed, and it was W's guys, because they go back to Bush 1's guys, right? Dick Cheney and all of those kind of guys.
The neocon.
Dick Cheney was great about let's throw it at the wall. John Bolton was great about throwing at the wall to see what sticks. And what is the mood of the country?
Right.
There's Fritz. Hey, Fritz. My brother Chris, folks, are
Yeah.
on Utter Radio. So,
By the way, let me talk directly to Chris.
yeah, go
Don't be
ahead.
offended by my dad. Every time my dad asked me something, if I didn't answer him immediately, he'd say, come on, answer. And I'd say, Dad, I'm thinking. And he'd say to me, what? You're stinking? Why are you stinking? And I would get just as frustrated with him as you may have gotten with him when he called you Fritz.
There you go. It was all in good fun. I loved it. I thought it was funny. I have very strong memories of the, and not to leave him out, but Uncle Tommy was the third in the trio.
Right. Who my
Yeah, and
dad
then-
always called a crackerjack, which
Really?
apparently means you have a very high level of skill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uncle Tommy, what was it? Yeah, what was his business? He did
was
something
a
with his,
reupholsterer.
I thought so.
Yeah, right. Furniture reupholsterer.
Yeah. I didn't know him as much because he was with Camille, so he was away.
And
She
down
was a
on-
character, Camille.
Oh, they're wonderful people. All wonderful people.
Yeah, they really were. And of course, again, not to give short shrift, the three sisters, Rose, Anita, and Sadie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Uncle Harold, who Aunt Sadie was married to, really nice guy. He was a really, really nice man. Remind me of Jack Lemmon.
Yes.
Uncle Harold.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
A little
Yeah.
bit. So, Billy, final thoughts for aspiring actors out there. You just picked it up and you've done it. And been
Yeah,
doing it.
what I would say is don't let anybody define success for you. I mean, I've worked with a lot of people who have done what I consider to be good work, but they feel bad about themselves because they're not an A-lister. And I mean, acting is acting. If you enjoy it, if you make a little money, maybe even earn a living doing it, then you're a success. Don't worry. I mean, there are only going to be so many Scorsese's. There's only going to be so many, producers. There's only going to be so many Chris Helms, and so don't worry. Just do your deal and enjoy it, and I think it'll be worthwhile.
Nice. That is awesome. Folks, thank you all so much for tuning in for another episode. Next week, I am taking the week off. I'll do a really good replay. I think I'm going to do one of my 3 threes of storytelling or something on the technical side because my son, Jeremy, the composer, the aspiring composer, who I also hope to have on the show this fall if he has time in his schedule, is getting married on August 30th. So Pop's mind is going to be on something else, and Tanya and I are going to be preparing for the wedding next Thursday night. But when I come back, like I said, Karen Lutz is coming back. Karen, I absolutely cannot wait. You've made so much progress, learned so much, talked to so many people since the last time you were on. I'm going to do a couple of creative communications about the art and craft of writing and acting. And then Nick Pendleton is coming back for round 2 on the show because we just hit the tip of the iceberg. Billy, I don't know if you saw the writer Nick Pendleton, that episode, but Nick is amazing. Such a great guy. And we're just going to talk shop for an hour, which is going to be cool. I think we're just going to freewheel. So, Billy, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me, Joey.
All righty. Okay, guys, we'll leave you with the music of Knight Berman Jr.